Well, hi there everybody. Mark here once again, bringing you my weekly update on the future of travel. Just to recap on people that are joining us for the first time, I'm the founder of Nomad Stays, a company that specialises in finding places to stay with great internet for digital nomads and remote workers around the world. I'm coming to you from the French Alps. I'm actually down on the Rhone River. Some of you might have seen in previous episodes. I'm actually coming from the opposite side of the river today. I'm in a different prefecture. This one is the prefecture of Ain, number 1 on the French prefecture list, compared to the other side of the river, which is 73, the Savoie. So I'm in France proper. For those that have been following the news, you know, the Savoie has really been a part of France for about 150 years, I think it is now, 150. But most of the last 1,000 years it was part of the Kingdom of Sardinia. So quite a cultural difference between these two parts of the world, and that mighty Rhone River in the background delineates it. So what you find around here is still we're in the mountains, you know, with the mountain behind us is called Dent de la Chatte, Tooth of the Cat in French. It's part of one of the big massifs, the uplift of mountains that is on the western side of the Alps. So there's a series of these uplifts all the way through past the Italian border, right into Italy. You know, and that border is about an hour's drive from here. So beautiful part of the world. As you can see, the sun is shining. It's low 20s, still stunning. River's flowing, water's good. We've had a little bit of rain. All that good stuff. So let me get stuck into this week's update. So officially the northern summer has finished. We're now into September, and there's been a dramatic drop off in bookings, which is quite normal for the north in this time of year. There's a lot of people have taken the August period off. They're now back at work. Bookings in hotels are down again, and we're seeing a little bit of downward pressure on the rates that are out there. Unknown what's going to happen in the winter peak, which is still many months away, but there's quite a lot of concern occurring in the hospitality industry around the world. Something like 70% of smaller properties that have been surveyed through around the world are now wondering whether they'll last until Christmas time. They're going to be shutting down potentially. Permanently, who knows? We're certainly seeing a number of properties mothballing again, but at the same time it's driving a lot of innovation. So we're seeing traditional leisure hotels starting to take longer term guests at reasonable rates. We've been signing up some of those at Nomad Stays as well. Traditional leisure hotels, lovely parts of the world. You know, the latest we've just picked up and listed is down right on the beach in the Algarve in Portugal. Can't wait to get there. We've had a number of properties join us from the broader Portugal area in the last week, which is fun. We've added more in Croatia, also looking good. Another beautiful place to spend winter if you're looking for somewhere like that. The nice thing about Croatia, particularly for American travellers, is that last I heard, it's still letting Americans into Croatia. And that leads on to the latest changes. It's been a relatively quiet week with changes. There's a slight tightening of the isolation rules around a number of countries. So as you visit some of these countries where there has been an uptick in COVID infection rates, like here in France, then as you return home, there has been more of a increased attention being placed onto isolation for 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks, depending on the country that you're returning to. I guess that has become the norm too. The thing we're seeing, sorry, I'm just looking at my faithful partner in crime, Dakar there. He's out exploring one of the neighbours' properties as he's looking down on the river. I guess this fact that after you take a break to another country, for whether it's a week or a month or something, if you're returning home, then a lot of people are just saying, well, that's all right, I now have to self-isolate for the next 2 weeks, but it's been worth it. I can work from home, I'm not too worried about infection. I'm just going to obey the laws and then continue to work from home, and it's okay. So we've seen a number of people actively choosing to go to these countries that technically have a higher infection rate, although when you look at the infection rates around the world, they're still very, very low. Very, very low percentage of the population per capita and so forth. So again, there's general acceptance. I guess that has also been reflective of the fact that cure rates and recovery rates and reduction in death rates has been strong around the world as the medical industry gets right on top of how best to treat this. So certainly the mental health of people and the ability to travel and to some extent socialise is now overweighing that isolation. We've been talking about these good numbers of visitors, particularly out of Western Europe down to other parts of Europe over the last few months. And as you know, we kicked these presentations off at the start of COVID as a way of giving you an update onto what's happening, and to give our properties around the world a bit of an insight onto how they can innovate and change to keep some business happening. So it's been fun over the last, what must be 4 or 5 months now. Seems to be getting longer and longer. Airlines still struggling, layoffs still occurring around a number of the international airlines. Big news out of Australia this week was that Qantas, the major international carrier there, is saying they probably won't fly back to the US until there's a vaccine, not a virus, a vaccine is widely circulated. Now, a couple of weeks ago, they said they're probably not going to fly internationally at all until July 2021. And it looks like the US might be one of the last places that we'll be getting the direct flights to until that wide use of the vaccine starts circulating around. A lot of hope being placed on these vaccines. At least 3 of them still in final stage 3 trials. We've still got many months to wait until we know what's going to happen and what the impact on the world is. So don't hold your breath on that one. You've just got to get out of the way of all those really smart researchers and testers and drug companies and governments and health officials and that massive people involved in the process of getting this along to fruition, to widespread usage. What else have we got going? So I guess the good news is that rates have eased across the place. Longer stays are being rewarded with some wonderful rates, down as low as a few €100, a few $100 in lovely parts of the world these days. So it really is a great opportunity if you want to go exploring to find something really pleasant to spend the next few months on a beach, in a mountain, hiking, whatever your passion is, but also to hook up with some good internet and be able to hold those 1,000,001 online video conferences and calls and things that have become the norm over the last few months. Obviously the events industry of getting people together still hasn't really kicked off. A number of countries are allowing events of up to 5,000 people to be held, but we're still not seeing any major ones scheduled, in-person events I'm talking about. And I think there's still a general fear that there will be a last-minute change by government officials that will ban it, and that means there's a lot of lost money that's gone into creating, preparing, marketing these events. So the events industry is still very shy to get going, even though there's great ideas. But then that, out of adversity becomes opportunity. So online events, I was just talking earlier today with an American lady talking about a 3D immersive event technology involving some world-leading art, fabulous ideas, and I'm really looking forward to sort of experiencing those in a virtual sense. Okay, hope you're doing well. I'm going to wrap things up there. It's been a relatively light change, as I mentioned. Double check everything. There's your particular region might have brought in some laws about where you've been visiting. get on top of that. Scotland's changed recently, parts of Finland have changed, Norway, so all, Denmark, another one, all lots of little changes, not necessarily at the country level either. So as you go tripping around, check those changes, find your good sources of data on that. There's an ever-increasing number of those out there, and make sure you go with the good ones, the ones that are accurate and up-to-date. There's a lot of people that are out of date there. So find your good sources. Be prepared that a last-minute change is going to mean you've got to self-isolate when you either get there or when you get home. And that's probably going to continue to drive longer visits, longer holidays, longer breaks than the short, we'll just change 3 countries in a day sort of stuff as we used to do. I'm going to wrap up there, leave you to this beautiful backdrop of the Rhone River, the Alps in France, this beautiful 20-25 degree day, and trust that you're doing well in business and you're healthy and safe. Cheers for now.